Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let's talk about comic things. Why not? It's always fun to talk about comic things on a comic channel. So let's talk about The Flash. So it's a reader question, viewer question. See, I'm never going to get that. Viewer question. Here it comes. It goes, do you think that if I rotated my arms as fast at any speed you could think of, could I really create tornadoes? Or do you think because my arms are not shaped like fan blades, it's impossible? No. I think no matter how hard you spin your arms, you're not going to create a tornado. I think there's a physics law here about how your arms are shaped, the length of the arm, proximity to the body. I don't think even if you were able to blur them around at super speed, you might create a small amount of of wind acceleration there, but you're not going to create a tornado with your arms. Anyway, that leads into the rest of this mail. I've noticed a trend in Flash stories. Flash breaks blank by running too fast. The solution is to run faster than he ever had before. But I feel like this is crazy for a few reasons. Just a few. Um, Number one, there has to be a point where he can no longer run faster than he ever has before, right? Right? Right. Yeah. No. I mean, there are in theory, all the superheroes have limits. There is a point where you just can't run. There is no faster than faster has ever been before. There are limits. Eventually you're running so fast you're running backward. I don't know how that would go, but anyway, it doesn't work, I guess is the point. Number two, if he broke something by running too fast, how can the solution possibly be to run faster than he has ever run before? It's like if I broke a plate and the only way to fix it is to break it into smaller pieces. I mean, it's a comic trope. It is definitely the only solution to doing all this cocaine is more cocaine. That's the only possible solution we can do here. This is the same logic that gets used by various men out there. The only solution to this problem I have with sleeping with too many prostitutes is more prostitutes. And I mean, you can't argue with that. But that's a little bit what's the plan. Next time you see this go on in a Flash comic, just remember that example. Like the only way to cure this chlamydia that I've got is to more prostitutes. It's the only solution. Line them up. I think that's the basic logic we have here. Anyway, um, I, it is comical. I do love those stories, and I love them in the same way you can love things that make no sense. And that's where a lot of this comic stuff is. It doesn't make any sense, but it's charming and cute. It's not meant to be a logic test, I always do crack up with the like, oh, we've accidentally broken time. So what we're gonna have to do is run really, 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 really fast to break it, to unbreak it. We're gonna. It's like the guy who's like, I can't believe I got my mistress pregnant. I'm gonna have to just f her some more until she unpregnants. That's the only solution here. I'll gotta come back to sex anyway. Number three. So back to the mail. Three. I've run a root cause analysis of the DC universe, and Flash is a cause for everything bad happening now. Because he kicked off Crisis on multiple Earths, which led to Crisis on Infinite Earths, which led to Infinite Crisis, which eventually leads to Dark Crisis. On that point, wouldn't the DC universe be a little bit better off if he sat a couple laps out? I mean, break his legs. Just break that bitch's legs. Sorry. Or is he past the point of no return and now he is cursed to always be running faster than he has ever run? I mean, he even passed this curse down to Chinese Flash in Infinite Frontier. He's a dick. He's the DC's greatest monster. It's a Flash. Anyways, thanks for your answer. No eaters if you don't. You're my morning coffee every morning. Oh, that's nice of you. All right. Yeah. No, I mean, look, the Flash is absolutely the greatest villain in the history of the DC universe. He's always screwing things up. He's running fast. I mean, he's disobeying the natural order of things. And I mean, how many Flash stories are we going to need where it's like, I ran really, really fast and accidentally broke the speed time continuum in the multiverse, and villains are always like, we need to get ourselves some of that fast running. So let's kidnap the Flash and make him run fast for us. We'll put him on like a little treadmill with a leash on him, and then he'll run fast for us. We'll use his running against him. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, to me, the Flash is not that hard a story. I think Bill Loebs did a really wonderful job back in the day. Lots of writers have. Mark Waid was a damn good writer of the Flash, but it seemed like, I mean, every now and then they would do little things with him, but not to an excessive degree. In the last 20 years or so, there's this very strange behavior of like, we're gonna have to run. I mean, I guess what do you do? His powers are running fast, so you've got to figure out ways that his powers could actually be used against him. Like kind of like how Green Lantern gets too addictive to the Green Lantern ring, and then one of the someday he I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, no, the Flash has got this problem. And I do think the logic, but I had this argument with somebody, and it's probably a video by itself. I was more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy back in the day, back in the 80s. I mean, it was hard to go wrong with Marvel in the 80s. There were just so many good books. But DC had its fair share. And really, I can't say I was a Marvel guy over a DC guy because I always loved a lot in both. The only reason I cite myself as a Marvel guy is as kind of my entry to comics was through Marvel. But, like I've talked about on this channel before, I love those old, Action Comics and Superboy and Lois Lane where they're doing crazy shit and Superman's just a complete pest flying around pranking people on a regular basis. I mean, those are great. But DC, I think, seems to have this weird problem with their heroes and their weaknesses. It's like, hey, it's Green Lantern and his weakness is yellow. Or, if you go further back in time, the weakness is wood. Now, I get the irony of, Alan Scott and Green Lantern, who is now a gay, and his weakness is wood. I mean, it feels a little bit on the nose, but it is. But you can kind of go through kind of the different characters. Wonder Woman was always getting tied up. Superman, you got a green rock. The weaknesses on DC always feels like they didn't think they're sitting around a writer's room and they're like, hey, we've got these great ideas. Imagine, if you will, a superhero universe where you have a character that comes from the island of Themyscira. There's a whole race of Amazons, and they'll have an invisible jet, and they'll fight the creatures both grotesque and giant. And over here we got Batman, who's he's a regular guy, but he's dedicated his life to solving crime. They put in all this imagination, and it gets all right, great. We're on a good track now. Let's figure out the weaknesses. Like, I know, yellow. It's like, what? What do you mean yellow? I mean, it's like with the Flash. It's like, what do we do for his weakness? Well, a cramp in the. No, they always seem to screw it up there at the end. And so with the Flash, the weaknesses decided to be, hey, he's accidentally runs so fast that he screws everything up, and now he's got to run faster to unscrew it. And I mean, if you think about it for even 5 seconds, you're like, oh, that's dumb. Okay, that's not good. Let's try that again. I think DC has this issue where it's like well, I mean, you look at like Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Avengers, and all the rest of this stuff. You didn't have these, like Thor was not, he didn't have a weakness to the color blue. And Iron Man, his weakness was alcohol. It's a pretty damn good weakness. I have that weakness myself. But, it wasn't like Iron Man's weakness is a mystical totem of one of those, Chinese cats that you get in the store with little paws going up and down. That thing. That's his weakness. His weakness is that. Why? Because he hates Asian people. I don't know. Like, why? Like, DC always steers into kind of some of the dumbest weaknesses with their characters and problems. Like, you have the Flash. He can race around. He can do lots of different things. But there's some natural weaknesses there. Like, hey, he can run really fast, but he can't fly. Or, he can run really fast, but maybe it's hard for him. In order to slow down to solve most problems, he's exposing himself because he's not bulletproof or anything. So he's got to run fast, like take care of things. He's got to be constantly upping his game. I mean, you can lean into the detective part of his personality. I mean, there's lots of things you could do there. You don't need to have the problem for the Flash be, oh shit, this guy ran too fast. He ran too fast and he broke time. I don't know what, the only thing he can do is run faster. Like, come on. It feels like you gave up there right at the end. I love the tapestry of what DC has with their characters and their universe and all the different aspects. I mean, it's a really cool world. But um, you gotta go all the way. And I really feel like DC, they 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 give up. They give up before the mission is complete, and then they start doing dumb things. That's my that's my impression. Anyway, thanks for the fun mail. I appreciated that. I love the analogy of like, oh man, I dropped this plate. The only thing to do is to break it more, which will somehow restore it to an original plate. Like that's the Flash in a nutshell right there. Anyway, thank you very much. If you want to ask a question to the show, the sillier the better. I appreciate it. The information is in the description to this video. But thank you very much for this one. Let me know how silly all this is, and thanks for listening.